Hey, what is up, mortals? It's NierVen here, and welcome to part 3 of What If Naruto characters had mobile suits. Just wanted to greet you guys by saying sit back and relax. You're in for a treat. And so, we begin. After Team 7's initial battle with Zabuza Momochi, the team arrives at the Land of Waves, with their injured sensei, who Sakura would spend the next week tending to, as Sasuke would focus on repairing the Inazuma Mark II. Once the repairs to the Inazuma Mark II were completed, Sasuke resumed his training, only to find Naruto in the Kurama Gundam in the middle of training. So I guess he isn't completely incompetent? Sasuke remarks as he leaves his teammate to train, as he finds his own training spot. A few days after Naruto and Sasuke began training on their own, Kakashi woke up to find Sakura checking on his condition.
"Oh, thank goodness, Kakashi-sensei! You're awake!"
Sakura says with glee as Kakashi begins to sit up. Where are Naruto and Sasuke? Kakashi asks as he expected those two to be nearby, since they were still under orders to protect Tazuna.
"I think they're in the forest. Honestly, I've barely seen Naruto since the fight with that Zabuza guy. And Sasuke fixed up your Inazuma Mark II before he went off to do his training thing,"
Sakura said as she put her fingers on her chin. Good. We'll all need to be at our best, Kakashi said with a slight wince.
"Why, sensei?"
Sakura asked. Because whoever hired Zabuza most likely sent someone of equal or even greater strength to finish the job. We'll have to stop them, Kakashi replied. After Sakura got him some crutches, Kakashi headed for his Inazuma Mark II, and used the Kurama Gundam friend or foe indicator to find Naruto. After reaching the Kurama Gundam's location, Kakashi witnessed Naruto's improved form, and felt a feeling of pride in his heart as he watched his pupil train. A few moments later, Naruto performed a spin kick, and after landing, noticed Inazuma Mark II. Overjoyed to see it moving, though he froze as he wondered if it was Sasuke piloting it just to mess with him.
"Uncle Kakashi?"
Naruto asked, with a slight tremor in his voice. Yeah, Naruto, it's me, Kakashi replied. A wide smile materialized on Naruto's face before he charged the Inazuma Mark II while still in the Kurama Gundam, gave Kakashi what could only be described as a mobile suit bear hug.
"I'm so glad you're okay!"
Naruto cried as tears of joy ran down his face. Thanks, nephew, but if you don't let me go, I think my ribcage is gonna cave in, Kakashi said jokingly. But as the sounds of the metal creaking began to increase, he began to worry that his joke may soon become a reality.
"Oh, sorry, Uncle Kakashi!"
Naruto said as he releases the Inazuma Mark II and helps it up. Moments after releasing the mobile suit, Sasuke's GN entered Naruto's training field. Good to see you moving around, Kakashi-sensei, Sasuke says to Kakashi, for he noticed some dents in the Inazuma's armor, before turning to Naruto. Naruto, you idiot! Just got done repairing the Inazuma! If you broke anything, you're gonna pay for it! Sasuke chastised Naruto, as he assumed that he was responsible for the newly formed dents. Stop it, you two! We have more pressing matters to deal with, Kakashi said, as he tried to prevent the fight from breaking out. Kakashi now upright and mobile, Team 7 began training together, preparing for the next attempt on Tazuna. Elsewhere deep in the neighboring forest, Zabuza Momochi was being tended to by his subordinate Haku, as his mobile suit, the Kirikage, is repaired by several mechanics. As Haku lays a wet, folded towel upon Zabuza's forehead, his hand latched onto Haku's arm, as his other arm pulls down the bandages that concealed his mouth. Haku, what happened? Zabuza asked, wincing from the pain.
"You were killed by Tazuna's bodyguards. I had to place you in a comatose state to convince them that I had sent you to retrieve you, before they could let me leave with your body,"
Haku replied as he continued tending to Zabuza's injuries. Damn! Do you know where they are now? Zabuza growled, frustrated with his failure.
"Yes, sir,"
Haku replied. As Haku and Zabuza continued speaking, a short man in a business suit entered the room, flanked by two men wielding swords, with their hands resting on the handle of their blades. Zabuza, tisk tisk tisk. How shameful to think the demon of the hidden mist was defeated by some meager leaf village genin and their overqualified babysitter. I hope your reputation is accurate, Gato said with a demeaning tone. My reputation is no concern to you. And that overqualified babysitter is Kakashi of the Sharingan, Zabuza growled. Oh, so Tazuna somehow got some big shot shinobi and his rugrats to protect him. Well then, you better hop to it and don't come back until you got Tazuna's head in a box. Understood?
Gato replied. The businessman's bodyguards began to chuckle as Haku started reaching for one of his needles. But before Haku could do anything, a slicing sound could be heard, and by the time anyone had noticed, the businessman's two bodyguards fell to their knees as their heads flew through the air until they hit the floor, staining the floor with their blood.
Listen here, you little worm. I don't respond well to threats. You hired me for a job, which I will complete. But if you disrespect me again, it'll be your head that occupies that box.
Zabuza barked as he held his sword an inch from Gato's throat, as the formerly confident businessman was reduced to a whimpering dog.
Fine!
Gato whimpered, as he tried to get some distance between Zabuza's sword before bolting out of the room. Once Zabuza had fully recovered, and his Kirikage was fully repaired, he and Haku and his Hikage traveled to Tazuna's bridge, in order to complete their mission. Before they could get anywhere near Tazuna, they were forced back by several explosive shuriken. Sakura! Protect Tazuna! Sasuke, you're with me! Kakashi ordered. Right! Sasuke replied. While the battle on the bridge got underway, Naruto was sleeping in his cot, until he was awakened by a series of tremors. After getting Tazuna's family out of the house, Naruto headed straight for the Kurama Gundam. Once Naruto was in the cockpit, he connected his chakra link cord to his seal, which woke up both of the Kurama halves.
Do you mind, boy? We're resting,
Kurama number 1 said, annoyed.
Save it! We're under attack!
Naruto barked at the tailed beast. The words attack snapped both Kuramas out of their drowsy state, as a source of the tremors being 2 Zaku units that ripped the roof off Tazuna's home only to find an empty building. Damn! They must have heard us, Mercenary number 1 said. As the second Zaku unit's pilot was about to respond to his partner, his unit's head was taken clean off by an anti-mobile suit kunai, which allowed the Kurama Gundam to run up to the first Zaku unit and punch it directly into the cockpit. After eliminating the first Zaku unit, Naruto drives the Kurama Gundam's claws into the second Zaku, tearing through the armor, leaving nothing but shards of scrap metal on the ground.
Well, that was quick,
Kurama number 2 noted.
Zabuza's employers must have sent them,
Naruto reasoned. After checking on Tazuna's family, Naruto headed straight for the bridge in order to back up the rest of his team. As Naruto rushed to his team's aid, Kakashi and Sasuke held their own against Zabuza and Haku, until Sasuke became trapped by small mobile funnels that came from Haku's suit.
Die!
Haku yelled, and with a snap of Haku's fingers, the funnels began firing condensed cryo beams at Sasuke's GN, as he tried to land a hit on Haku or the funnels. But just as Sasuke got painted into a corner, with a large group of funnels priming their beams for one final blast, a flurry of anti-mobile suit shuriken disabled the funnels as an orange mobile suit lands on the bridge near Sasuke.
Who's this clown?
Zabuza growled. Our backup, Kakashi said with pride.
Sorry I'm late, Uncle! I had to deal with some goons,
Naruto said. No need to apologize. Just help Sasuke. I don't think we'll survive long if those funnels remain active, Kakashi assured him.
Right!
Naruto replied before joining Sasuke. Naruto and Sasuke began attacking the funnels together with their mobile suits, managing to disable at least 5 of them before Haku and the Hikage decided to rush the Kurama Gundam from behind with a stun baton. But before Haku could land a single hit on the Kurama Gundam, Sasuke intervened by placing his GN in front of the stun baton, taking all the damage, and seizing the opportunity, Haku ordered all his remaining funnels to fire on Sasuke's GN, freezing the suit solid. After Sasuke's GN was turned into a metal iceberg,
Haku used a Haikage to punch through the GN, severely damaging the suit and leaving it to fall onto its back as Sasuke fell unconscious. After a moment of silence, Zabuza is able to land a significant blow on the Inazuma Mark II, causing Kakashi to also fall. As Kakashi and Sasuke's life sign indicator began to flatline, Zabuza began to cackle with glee. At the same time, the Kurama Gundam begins to tremble with rage, and a strange glowing red trim begins to form on its chassis. "What the?" Zabuza growled in confusion.
Kurama Gundam! Destruction mode!
Level 1! The Kurama Gundam stated. After those words were spoken, a flash of light blinded everyone at the bridge, as the sound of crunching metal and blood-curdling screams filled the air. Once the light dissipated, Sakura found herself completely unharmed along with Tazuna, but their opponents weren't as fortunate, as the bridge was now littered with various parts of the Kirikage and Haikage, as their frames lay limp within the Kurama Gundam's grip.
Naruto?
Sakura asked sheepishly through her mobile suit's intercoms. The Gundam didn't turn, instead tossing the mobile suit frames off to the bridge into the river, staining the stream with a mixture of oil and blood. And even a moment later, a whole battalion of Zaku units showed up on the far end of the bridge with a solid gold one leading the group. "Well, I guess I have to do this the old-fashioned way, then. Alright, boys! Kill the old man and Shinobi!" As the Zaku began charging Team 7's position, the Kurama Gundam turned to face them, and extended one arm, which began to reconfigure into what appeared to be some kind of projectile launcher.
Minor Beast Bomb!
The Kurama Gundam says for launching a black orb about the size of a small home at the Zaku units. Upon connecting with one of them, it grows exponentially in size, enveloping all the Zakus in a pitch-black soup, before immediately flying into the air and exploding. The explosion showers a nearby forest of flammable wreckage from the army of Zaku. After the Zaku were dealt with, the red trim that now decorated the Kurama Gundam began to fade. The suit's mask returned as Naruto appeared on Sakura's view screen.
"Hey, Sakura? What happened?"
Naruto asked nervously, as he didn't have any memories of what happened after the Kurama Gundam's transformation began. Before Sakura could answer, a voice could be heard over the intercom system. "Naruto," Kakashi croaked. A second voice soon joined him. "Help," Sasuke added. Naruto then disembarked from his suit and headed straight for the Inazuma Mark II's wreckage, while Sakura headed for the GNs. After a few minutes of removing scrap metal, Kakashi and Sasuke were rescued from within the wreckage of their suits. After discovering that both Kakashi and Sasuke were alive, Sakura went back to her Shin 2 and radioed for medical transport and 4 mobile suit trailers for immediate pickup. After 3 days, the transport and trailers arrived. By this time, the bridge had been completed, so as Kakashi and Sasuke were loaded into the medical transports, Naruto and Sakura handled the goodbyes to Tazuna and the other villagers. "Will they be alright?" Tazuna asked as he saw Kakashi and Sasuke in a medical transport.
I don't know. The medical staff say they've lost a lot of blood. But they're hopeful,"
Sakura answered. "Well, thank you for your protection, and, I apologize for not being upfront about the men targeting me," Tazuna said in a slightly embarrassed tone.
Save it. We're just looking out for your people,"
Naruto replied, understanding why Tazuna did what he did.
"Well, we should be going now. Goodbye, and good luck!"
Sakura said quickly before heading for her trailer. "Bye!" Tazuna said as Team 7 began their journey home. Once all 4 of Team 7's mobile suits were loaded into their respective trailers, they headed straight for Konohagakure. While isolated in her trailer, Sakura wondered what the Kurama Gundam's Destruction Mode Level 1 was, why it seemed to only activate after Kakashi and Sasuke were incapacitated. In addition to that, Sakura felt a twinge of fear in her chest whenever she thought about how she could have easily been killed by the Kurama Gundam. These thoughts would be Sakura's only company on the long journey home. While in Naruto's trailer, he sat in the cockpit of the Kurama Gundam, not because he wanted to relax. Rather, Naruto wanted answers, so he activated the Mindscape before finding himself in front of the 2 Kurama brothers.
"So, I've got questions,"
Naruto said.
"And I have fleas. Can you not state the obvious?
Kurama number 1 replied.
Come on now, brother. Let the boy speak.
Kurama number 2 said, chastising his brother.
What happened on the bridge?
Naruto asked.
We eliminated Sabuza, Haku, and the Zaku group with extreme prejudice.
Kurama number 1 replied plainly.
Why don't I remember any of that?
Naruto asked, wondering how they were defeated.
You blacked out after Destruction Mode Level 1 was initiated.
Kurama number 2 answered.
Destruction Mode Level 1?
Naruto asked, wondering what the Kuramas were talking about.
One of the alternate modes that our Gundam can transition into,
Kurama number 1 explained.
I don't remember activating any alternative modes.
Naruto replied, confused by how the mode was activated.
It's triggered by a drastic change in emotion, typically rage and grief.
Kurama number 2 added.
So, when I thought that Uncle Kakashi and Sasuke were dead,
Naruto started to say before trailing off.
The Gundam responded to your anger and linked our minds together. And since you wanted to keep Tazuna and your team alive,
Kurama number 1 added, explaining the mode transfer process.
The Pseudo eliminated any possible threat to their safety,
Naruto said, finishing Kurama number 1's explanation.
Perhaps the boy isn't slow after all.
Kurama number 1 said sarcastically.
Have we answered all your questions?
Kurama number 2 asked.
Yes,
Naruto replied.
Let us rest. Your little fit of rage tuckered us out,
Kurama number 2 said, before ending the Mindscape program. And with that, Naruto found himself back in the trailer, now aware of the Kurama Gundam's true power. But even though the weight of that knowledge on his shoulders, all he could think about is how he was relieved that all of Team 7 was going home. After arriving back at Konohagakure, Kakashi and Sasuke were transferred to the local hospital. All 4 of Team 7's mobile suits were taken to the motor pool for repairs. With Kakashi incapacitated, Naruto and Sakura had to brief the 3rd Hokage on their mission. They decided to leave out the Kurama Gundam's transformation. It would be 3 months before Kakashi and Sasuke would be up and around, but the doctor told them to take things slow, as their injuries were extensive. But Team 7 continued their training, with Kakashi knowing the Chunin exams were coming up soon, and that his team needed to be ready for the challenges that lay ahead. Thank you all for indulging yourselves in the story thus far. Hope you enjoyed it. There are a few things that I'd like to go over before this video ends. Firstly, we got a primary channel called We the Celestials. We the Celestials is what we do here already, with their content centered around the crazy world and lore of My Hero Academia. So please, check us out over there if you're feeling in the mood for a roller coaster of quirky content. We also have another relative to our channel, Anime Deep Dive. Anime Deep Dive goes deep into the facts and lore of a wide variety of anime. It sure to explains your weeb knowledge for all kinds of series, guaranteed. I'd like to let you all know on behalf of We the Celestials that I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. If you're perhaps interested in what we do here at WTC, I would like to extend out an invitation to join our team. The only caveat is, we only accept members 16 or older to join our crew. You can find us on our Discord, which you can locate in the description below. Our Discord is an all-around fantastic place to be, whether you're a fan or looking to join our band of misfits. All you gotta do is hit up the recruitment server and sign up with whatever category of work fills your interest. We're always looking for members to join us. Well, that's it for us for today's video. Thank you all for watching and have a great day.